And come over here, Joe. Yes, I want you to feel the embarrassment. Joe, very eager, very anxious to learn, very anxious to do well, and at the same time, no offense, my good man, you were the freshman. Joe, most certainly, in a good way, in a very good way, I'd have to remind myself, he's got 4 years to grow up. He'd ask me some questions, I'd be like, he's still young. He started getting a little too aggressive on something, I'd be like, slow down. Every once in a while he'd say something, I'm like, I don't think he meant that in a mean way. He didn't, he's just freshman. When he started running a couple of varsity races, he learned something about me. I don't do varsity privileges. Some other sports do, so I understood why. One day when we were in the weight room, he said to one of the other guys, hey, varsity first. Hang your head in shame. To his credit, he never once argued with me when I would bring these things up. Like, okay, coach. He never once took it as a hit on his ego. He just learned along the way. There's still a lot more. Joe and I got some more growing to do. Hopefully I get to be about 16. But I appreciated the opportunity that Joe listened. Joe learned. When my captains let me know, Joe needs a little bit of help on something, I'd let him know and he'd take it, and I never had to bring it up again. It was always something new every week, but I appreciated that as well. As far as races, for what constitutes a varsity letter, it is 1830 or bust. Gentlemen, I know, but please be respectful. Eager to solve long-term plans that we can have with this program. That Boardman, as you'll hear about later, is a walking example of. So Joe, thank you. Most certain course, product of the Lake Newton program. I had the pictures and images always in 8th grade to prove it. You'll get to see those when you graduate. But you look like a nut. Mr. Hannah, other side of Zelensky, please. With Mr. Whenever someone seems to see you, there always seem to be girls hanging around you, Mr. Hannah. That's a really four? Always. Right here. So apparently Mr. Hannah's been a ladies' man. So I'm going to have some trouble with that, because you can obviously tell I've never had a runner before who was a ladies' man. Short So Mr. Hannah, hopefully we don't have to fight that fight with me trying to get runs before huns. But regardless, regardless, it was an absolute joy coaching Hannah this season, because once again he's a freshman that just wanted to take it on himself and get better for himself, and even said to me right at the end of the year, Coach, I don't want to stop running, otherwise I'm going to stop running. I like this habit of running every day. Can I do that? I'm like, do it. A legend for an older brother. The street sweep has established himself, which I'll talk about later, but apparently is insistent on calling his brother Adam. Calls him Ron. Last chance. Any reason for calling him Ron? Okay, keep looking outside. Little sweep, as I'll continue to call him throughout his 4 years here. Hi, honey. Here, you hold that. Little sweep, throughout his 4 years here, will establish himself just fine. Hopefully, very, very, very hard worker. Yeah, they are. I'm very glad that stopped. Because you see me like, oh, I'm like, hi. So little sweep, JV, Pat, with little kosher. How do I begin? Well, fortunately for him, thanks to the legacy his brother's left, no matter what, he's going to look like a good person. With little kosher, little kosher at the start of the season, it was very, very obvious that he could feel the presence of his older brother on the team. Because to be more serious, Kyle is most certainly one of the foundation pieces of our program throughout this season. And so, for little kosher, he had to kind of come out of that shadow and just become himself, and he did. As the season progressed, you can end that too. As the season progressed, he started taking care of himself more and more. As the season progressed, he started understanding his workouts more and his races more, to the point where we started setting some very, very good time goals. All the way down to running that 19 flat at conference. And with the progression that I definitely see coming, you're your own kosher, to be metaphorically cheesy. And I know you love that because you're rolling your eyes at me already. But I'm looking forward to it, though, because you've definitely become your own runner. So, kosher, you can get your JV passion release for my daughter as well. Congratulations. She's not giving him Here, Haley. How tough was that? Him run. His feet crossed over as he ran. My hips and knees were just shaking. Watch. And I said to him, like, how do you do that? He goes, do what? Like, how do you run? You guys all remember this. I'm like, how do you do that? He's like, I took martial arts lessons. So we had ourselves a long process of trying to fix that before stress fractures and IT bans and all sorts of running injuries occurred from bad form. So I had him on the track, and there's a line on the track, and for a while I tried having him keep your feet on either side of the line. That didn't work. Then I tried just having him focus on driving his knees straight forward. That kind of worked. For a while I just gave up. And then eventually settled. And then they had the awards ceremony. And I'm friends with the Tremper coaches who are running the awards ceremony. And Chuck Bradley is the head coach at Tremper. And Chuck has the microphone. And Chuck's announcing things. And also he goes, and finishing in place, I was at 8th. Finishing in 8th place. You can't beat this name. From Muskego, awesome hacky. And he just looks at me. And I'm like, and I just started to laugh. And then he's up there standing there. And I'm just waving. I'm like, hi, awesome. He's just, you were a little embarrassed. Yeah, it was pretty spectacular. But, yes. And now.
I know.
That's just everybody. There's the octopus. Now, Mike O'Connor. As many of you remember from his freshman year, he was just going to play fall baseball league, and that was it. Oh, I'm going to bring it up all 4 years. And then just decided to keep running a shot. And obviously freshman year was very successful, being at the state meet, setting a few freshman records, decent 2-mile time at track. And then coming into sophomore year, truly has decided to dedicate himself to the sport, running over 500 miles this past summer. The most important time drop is not necessarily his 3rd place time overall in the history of our sophomore class. It's dropping over a minute on his time at the state course. I mean, obviously him and I had talked about, and as a team we had talked about some things we want to do at state, but we can't overlook dropping, was it a minute 11 if I'm not mistaken, dropping a minute 11 from his freshman year to his sophomore year on that very challenging, very grueling state meet course bodes very well. So if I'm doing the math right, and you ran 17:07 as a sophomore, if we drop another minute and 11, that's under 16, and another minute 11, you're going to do very well. So I throw that out there. It might actually come close to Selinsky's state record. Regardless, O'Connor, your brother's not going to run that kind of time here. But
No, you took credit for his work. That's what
I took credit for his work.
Yeah.
Also,
Because he came up with the math.
no, he read my mind and stole it from me.
Sorry, Tom.
And one last thing about Mike, and then there's only so much I can say about a kid with this much drive and determination. I love coaching him for the same reason I love coaching so many of my other detail-oriented athletes. Because Ryan Ullman, one of my former runners who's now over at Washington, told me he cannot believe how much Mike absorbs the coaching that I try to put forth, how much he listens to his upperclassmen, even though he doesn't want them to know it, and how much he truly pays attention to the finer details of his training. And that's part of the reason why we're going to see a lot of success in our years here. So Mike, you've earned your shot, Ron. Better runners. Has been since he was a freshman. Don't quit laughing. He's one of our better runners, one of our stronger runners, and a runner that understands how to cross-train. One thing I do want to say right now is he did stuff this season that I can never imagine myself. I don't think I could have ever done. About midway through the season, we had ourselves a hip problem. The hip problem just would not go away, but Alex had put in a lot of miles this summer, and I heard him say on more than one occasion, I do not want all that work to go for nothing. And so we did elliptical rides. And if anybody knows what an elliptical rider is, it's all right for maybe about a half an hour. When you're talking about 90 minutes of absolutely destroying yourself over and over and over again and knowing what was coming, except for the first time he did it, he's like, and I even kept it kind of secret. I told him it's because I didn't think he'd enjoy it. You did. But then he knew what was coming the next time and the time after that. And for those of you that know Coach Nika is a very good read of character. And I remember Coach Nick even telling me it's pretty hard work. He doesn't say that about a lot of kids. Normally he just doesn't. He'll just leave it alone. If it's not one of his weight guys, he just stays out of the way of the coaches. But he actually sought me out and told me, this kid's all right. I'll stay late for him in the weight room if you need me to. And that's saying something, because Coach Nick is a man of punctuality and a man of requirements, and he understood what Alex was doing. So Alex, thank you for grinding through that. It was worth it. I mean, the time at state, well, obviously you and I have already talked. We had higher goals, but the experience, the knowledge we've gained, and the change we can make based on that were well worth it. So Alex, thank you very much. Just once again, non-running related, that obviously was a stay between Mitch and I. And able to get to know each other like that, so we could understand each other better when it came to outside factors. For instance, his involvement with student council, his involvement with some of his school activities. Let's talk about the hair. Right now it's down. Throughout most of the season, it's full. I don't know why you would want that. But we actually had ourselves during homecoming week a dress-up day. And as a team, quite a few of the guys had Chris Morgan Day. Let's see, it was Matt Weiss. Who else dressed up as Chris Morgan? Holt pulled it off better than anybody. It creeped me out when I saw him. I'm like, I mean, the Abercrombie shirts, the mandals, as you guys call them, sandals, fruit, whatever. The girl pants. I'm sorry, the guy pants. Little kid pants, yes. On top of that, Morgan obviously very well dressed tonight, always trying to outdo me. Where's the tie? No, what did I mention earlier that I was going to bring up again? Say. Oh. Say it. What's that? Texting me? You see, we're over at a pasta party at Keogh's, and they decided they're going to send a funny text to me. Something that was probably a little offensive. And they're like, did you get it? I'm like, no. And then they check, and I walk in, and he's like, and Morgan, who told the person to text me, was like, oh my God, you sent it to somebody else. Which was quite enjoyable. Did you ever tell, like, that girl you're sorry? Well, if you go to hell now, you know why. What's that, TJ? She knows? You might want to fess up. You're good now. Why? Because you're hoping she forgets. One last thing about Morgan that I got to move on through my senior class. Morgan did not want to race much this year. He just wanted to train, but he trained hard. A lot of the guys were like, not racing, but captains and upperclassmen, and he's a pure runner. He just loves to run. I fully expect to see him running for many, many years to come. So Morgan, thank you for all the help this year. Folks, most of them are not kid friendly. As you can clearly tell, Sam doesn't mind, having a few people pay attention to him from time to whoa. Sam and I are polar opposite individuals. I am compulsively organized. I keep track of little details. I know where my stuff is. However, where Sam is far superior to me, and I can't believe I'm actually going to say this compliment, Sam is an unbelievably creative, kind, I can't believe I'm saying that, and understanding young man. And I can't believe I'm complimenting you, but his creativity is a strength. His musical is funny. When he was a freshman, he pulled his, was it your freshman year, he pulled it back on ponytail the first time? Sophomore year. It totally, for those of you who remember these old movies, Steven Seagal. And for whatever reason, I just enjoyed it way too much. And so on our meet sheets, I'd be like, Kaiser, you're out for justice. You're above the law. I have a really bad sense of humor. First I had Josh, now I have Jake, but this is now Big Lockout. Not because he got taller, certainly not because he's bigger than his older brother. Wow. But our man Big Lockout here took down his brother's PR. Yeah. At the Eagle Invite, ran himself 17:31. Older brother's PR was 17:39. And I just remember your mom's reaction when we were at that meet. She's like, I already called Josh. He's not happy. That was. The thing about Jake that blew my mind this season is from the first week to the end of the season, a totally different runner. And I don't mean times. And he and I already talked about this. I mean, the sheer growth as a runner was unexpected. I did not expect to see him as, first off, among our top 7 at the start of there. I'm like, not sure how hard he's going to want to work, because Jake's always been somebody who's enjoyed running and loved running. But at the same time, some of those Sunday runs didn't always plan out. Some of those off-season miles, But this season, there was just intense dedication. I've said this a lot about him already, so I can be quick. He's the example for every single freshman runner who's not blowing the doors off PRs, not winning races. Every single young runner can follow this. Coach Ertl over at Lake Union Middle School talked about Borneman at his final end of the season meeting because of what he has become as a runner. 2008 as a freshman, down to 1640 as a senior. He was on top of our PR sheet at the end of this year, which my eyes are still bugging out of my head. Because we had a bunch of guys all grouped together. I mean, it was 1 second to the next guy. But it was just weird. So I'm like, Matt Borneman is on the top of our PR list. Tom Breitbach, one of our former runners, him and I were on the phone, and we're like, yeah, we didn't see this one coming. We knew you were going to be good, but we didn't think you were going to be pushing for a conference title with a wrong turn. We didn't think. Oh, wait, some people don't know this. Finishing up at the conference meet, Papa Oman was trying to be helpful, told him to go one, about a minute faster than the previous year. Just an absolute made runner. Talent, who cares? Borneman, thank you for being that example I can now talk about for decades. It's an awesome season. Kyle Kosher. The meme finally. Oh, I know. I don't know, what can I say? Kosher, 1648 PR this year, huge drop.
46.
46. Huge drop in his PR. Clearly one of the leaders of our team. Set the tone all year, whether it be a workout, whether it be a race, whether it be our reaction to the state meets. He just set the tone for what we would do, how we would feel about it, and how we would deal with it later on. He made my job easy. In so many ways. There's so many things I was worried, like, how am I going to do? How am I going to convince people of this? How am I going to turn this negative into a positive? He just did it for me. Sometimes just by example, without saying a darn thing. All he had to do was just go out and work hard, and other guys fed off of that. Whether it be with our group of 5, our varsity 5, which we never really technically came up with a name for. All right, whatever. But, surprise for me. But our varsity 5, who very much, as they'll admit, sometimes took the lead from him. Whether it be in the jokes, messing with wire. How many times did you steal stuff from him? And then watching Zach chase after him. It could have been a lot of fun to watch. But Kyle, thank you very much for a senior that was beyond compare, absolutely successful. Thank you. Now, Zach Wire is somebody that I have had an absolute blast and absolute joy coaching. He follows the details of what I play out for him to the letter for 4 years. As a freshman, trying to run in jean shorts. Track. You ran in blue jeans? So there are blue jeans. But Zach, you know what? I'm just going to read it. This is something Zach submitted to me for class. I don't care how embarrassed you are. This is spectacular. This is what Zach had to say about running. It's 4 o'clock in the morning when I reluctantly roll out from under the comforting warmth of my sheets and land with a thud on the floor next to my bed. I crawl across the floor to shut off my alarm clock and lay there. The winter cold outside seeping into the room from the garage below me. I still can't remember why I had to wake up at this ungodly hour. I lay wondering for a while longer as I begin to shiver. Eventually, it is the cold that chases the fog from my brain and allows me to remember that it is Christmas and I had no other time to run today. I forced myself to stand, walk to the window, and open the curtain. It's still dark, I realize, and then, geez, it's a lot of snow. At another time, I would have appreciated the glistening white desert of snow that has not yet been shoveled, bulldozed, or salted. It may very well be the first person for miles to leave my mark on the snow, one lonely footprint at a time. One small voice in the back of my head wonders why I can't let it go and get some sleep. But that singular voice is soon unheard behind the thousands of voices who each have an answer. I groan, pull on my muddied, no longer white running shoes, and set off to my front door to run. I head left towards the school. The snow really is marvelous. It absorbs all sound and covers the ground completely, so it is impossible to see or hear a thing. I momentarily entertain the thought that I am the last human in the world and I am running from some sort of invisible beast, and I can never really tell what I'm running from. But there is something. It is an emotion, fear, anger, or sadness. It is a fact, some frightening thing that I cannot know. Sometimes I think maybe I have escaped it and I won't have to run, but then it is chasing me again. I know what I'm running towards. I remind myself as I pass the spot where in spring I will be sprinting laps around the track, pushing myself until I puke and my legs collapse under my weight. I briefly wonder if I'm crazy. Then I remind myself of my teammates. Every time I am lying on the grass, ringed by the track that seems to want to kill me, all my teammates are there with me, every single one of them, feeling just as I, that they cannot take another step. Maybe we're all crazy. I keep running. The next checkpoint is the local park. It's like a circuit, 1.19 miles around. So I have a choice. Do I go left up the steep hill or right up the gradual one? I dig my feet into the ground and go left. I run up the hills. They have a history too. During cross country, our team will run here for the privilege of sprinting up these hills until the pain becomes agonizing. I next pass a field where on Sunday evenings in the summer, I'll sometimes ditch my shoes and run barefoot just to feel the grass under my feet. There's no shoe that can imitate that feeling. Look. In time, I've reached the park entrance again. Still not finished, I turn right onto a slushy, wet road. During the day, I could not run here without seeing a car, but this morning, the world remains silent. The next chance, I turn right. A long uphill waits for me around the bend that I am seeing. I know because I have run this route countless times. Here, the memories are not so intense. They're much like what I am experiencing now. Quiet, long day. Often, I can run this 6-mile loop without seeing a single car. I run past farm after farm. Even the animals are still asleep in their barns. But not me. I am running. Around the curve and start the arduous climb up the hill. The snow crunching under my feet. It seems like miles before I reach the top. But I know it has not been that long. The rest of the run will whisper by. I can feel it. I'm calm because I know that when I remember this day, I will know this. On that morning, the snow was beautiful, the world was silent, and I was happy because I was running. There's a reason he is one of the smartest individuals I'll ever coach. There's a reason he has earned something our conference acknowledges as a scholar athlete. Donald Zachariah Wire. It has been my pleasure to coach him for 4 years. Thank you very much. Paco has just been the individual who just not only can relate so well to so many of our goofballs, as anybody in the team can know him. This is one guy who's very excited to play some ultimate frisbee. But as an emotional leader as well. A great transitional leader for all those runners that want to become something. York is the individual with talent who is most certainly taking advantage of that, not letting it go for granted. And then Wolfram, I don't know what else you can say about Alan Wolfram. As I've said, leadership is not defined by a watch. Leadership is defined by his character. And as I've already said, this young man has it. I was very lucky with these 4 captains. And losing the captains that I'm losing in Klockow and Kosher will be no small feat to fill. But I'm very lucky that I have 2 returning captains next year in York and Wolfram. And that will help me immensely. Because this year, I had brand new captains. All my captains from the previous years were gone. And it felt like nothing was lost because of how well these 4 worked together. The success of the season is not had without them. Without York showing them that injuries don't prevent you from trying to achieve your goals. Whether it be Wolfram showing them that the sport is not determined by your times, it's determined by your heart, how much you put into it, and how well you can avoid bees in a race. You guys don't know, he's definitely allergic to bees. Of all the guys during a race, he almost swallowed a bee, stung him on the lips, spit it out. He's like, oh my God. And for those you saw the movie Hitch with Will Smith, yeah. That was scary at first, but he's like, I'm okay. And so because of that, the season was a success, and it was because of these 4 as a group. Because the dedication of this team and the leadership they provided. So captains, thank you very much. By all means, you may grab your flags, you may grab your captain stars. I can't thank you enough for how much you helped me with the season. Gentlemen, darn well better applaud yourselves. Just to keep things moving along, I think I'm going to get right into some. And this man is the embodiment of our program. To the core of his soul, he is Muskego cross country. Whether it be his efforts, it's not street sweet. Whether it be his efforts, whether it be his desire, whether it be his long-term goal setting, or the quiet way he goes about it, which to me just blows my mind. He doesn't want attention for it. What I love most about running is that you do it for yourself. You don't do it for the attention of a crowd. You don't do it for people to cheer for you. You don't do it for media attention. If you're running for media attention, you live in the wrong country. He runs for himself. He's always run for himself. And as a freshman, I remember, I bring up Breitbach a lot, that's one I'm still very close with. I remember Breitbach and I, when this young man was a freshman, we were thinking, he doesn't really talk. My God, he likes to train. This kid's gonna be good. From 2008 to 1841, 1733 to 1640, because he wanted it, not because anybody gave him the opportunity. All I had to do was not screw up. This kid was going to be a great runner no matter what I did, because he put in place that runner. All right, we have one last LPR time. It's been based on so many more factors. It's been based on real anger. So I was mad at myself. My runners gave everything. Every single runner on that state course finished at that line completely and utterly spent. None more so than this one. And I was very disappointed in myself. My wife can attest. It felt like I let them down. And on Saturday, he actually stops us. And he looks at me and he says so many things. I was thinking they were mad at me. He thanked me. He said to me and many others, some of you who were there, he said to our athletic director, you want to talk about showing some character, our athletic director and to our buildings principal who were there to cheer us on, he said, one race does not define us, does not define our season. This is the most fun I've ever had in my life. He is the absolute heartbeat of our team. I never thought he would become this, because he was always just a goofball who worked hard, but he embraced it. And before I announce who it is, he also submitted something to me about running. Sorry, I'm an English teacher. He wrote to me, and this is just an autobiographical essay. The gray skies have been snowing endlessly for 11 hours now. You're catching kind of a theme about running in the snow. I sigh as I gaze at the flakes being swept away from the strong gusts of wind, knowing I will meet with them soon enough. I glance at the thermometer and hastily turn away to try to forget what it read. After equipping myself with enough winter gear to dress a family of 4, I tie my shoes and take one last deep breath. As I open the door, the anticipated gust of wind heaves snow onto my clothing. I brush most of it off, only to get covered again and start my venture. The silence of my footsteps hitting the snow-covered road reminds me of the feeling I get right before a race. It is as if for a split second, the world around me does not exist until the gun goes off. Immediately, I will regain focus and remember the months of training before the race, the 12-mile long runs in blistering temperatures that made me beg for a cloud to cover the sun, even if only for a moment. The hill workouts that made my legs feel 10 pounds heavier with each hill. Thereafter, running a couple more to simply become satisfied. The intervals on the track that blurred my vision as the last gas rushed to my head, I can attest to that. I walked him back to the locker room that day. The only training absent at the start of the race is the mental preparation needed to take the pain that I know is imminent. I head off to a familiar place, but today does not look the same. Snow-covered pine trees showing little of their dark green needles seem so different, but beautiful. And yet an eerie feeling sets in when I see no cars, no people, nor any signs of life. I ponder on the idea of having no teammates, no one to help push me farther than what I perceive my limit to be, no one to share my pain after an arduous workout, no one to talk to on easy runs. I contemplate the idea of where I would be without my teammates, would I even be a runner without the friendship and motivation from my teammates? The thought is frightening. The snow starts to fall faster. My shoes sink even deeper into the unplowed streets of a little neighborhood 3.5 miles from my house. I find it ironic that sweat rolls down my neck as my face becomes frozen and my fingers and toes are numb. As I try warming my fingers with my breath, a car passes by. The driver stares with a puzzled look. Most of my runners can attest to experiencing that at least once. I laugh to myself as I try to imagine some thoughts that must have gone through her head. Still, I trudge along, hoping no more cars will pass again and mar the elegance of this run. As I arrive at my recently shoveled driveway, probably by his brother, I saunter the last 50 feet to the door, watching my breath turn into ghosts of steam. I stomp the clumps of snow off my shoes before entering the house, still bringing in enough of it to drench the rug. My cheeks and hands start to sting as the heat from the house warms them. After struggling to untie my frozen shoelaces, I stare at the snowflakes again with a sigh, this time with a smile. Kyle Kosher is this team. He has been the entire season. He's by far our most valuable runner, both in time, and both in what he has meant to me, and how much he helped me at the state meet deal with my own disappointment and my own feelings of what I should have done better. And he gave everything at that state meet. I cannot believe how much he gave. Kyle, thank you very much. You are our most valuable runner this year. Thank you.